Hey everyone, I'm Greg from Cutting Edge Stencils, and I'm excited to be hosting this show on Hometalk, the world's largest DIY community for home and garden. If you're watching the premiere on Hometalk, I'll be live in the comments section to answer any questions you may have about this project, so be sure to ask. Let me give you a little backstory on this project. We're here at .com Weavers in Morristown, New Jersey. They're just moving into their new headquarters, and they had this wall and they really wanted exposed brick, but the landlord insisted on sheetrocking the wall and didn't allow them to have the exposed brick. So stencils to the rescue. So what we did is we came in and we brought our all over brick stencil. We did this technique with a little spattering and dry brushing, and we really captured the feeling. And it's reversible, it's easy to work with, it's done in a day, a lot cheaper than bringing in the mason. So I'm going to walk you over to this other wall that we're about to start, and I'm going to show you how it's done. Okay, here we are. We've got a wall. We've done 3 walls here. We've started this wall in grout color. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. But first thing I'm going to go over is the tools and the paints necessary to do this project. So let's talk about this. So you're going to need your stencil, of course, which we have Cutting Edge Stencils. This is an all-over brick stencil. This makes it so easy to get this look. It's just amazing. Our stencils are self-aligning. They align with themselves. Very, very great feature that works for keeping your rows and lines beautifully straight and even. Okay, so we need some paint trays, some dense foam rollers. We're going to be using a few different colors here. We're going to be using Ben Moore Satchel. We're going to be using Benjamin Moore Black. We're going to be using Benjamin Moore Moroccan Red. And I'm going to pour this in the tray right now. Take a 5 tool, pop your lid open. I'm going to take a paper towel. Because you always want to wipe the rim of your can, because otherwise the lid won't close correctly. You'll get air, it'll dry your paint, and you'll be thrown there. So I'm going to take my paper towel and I'm going to put it right in the lip there, right in the edge. I like to keep a garbage box handy. So now we don't have any excess paint in our rim. Lid goes back on. 5 tools, amazing. Back underneath. Okay, so that was Moroccan Red, Black, Satchel. Some other tools that we're working with here. We want a selection of brushes because we're going to be doing a few different things. We want a few stencil brushes. This is to get into the corners and the edges. We're going to have some wash brushes here and spattering brushes. This is going to give us a spatter technique and a dry brush technique that we're going to do at the end to give it some age and to push the finish back and let it mellow together, and so we don't have high contrast between grout and our brick. We also have a spray bottle with water. I like having it around when you do your spattering technique. Also, you need to dilute your paint, and that's what we'll use that for. We have some spray adhesive. We're not going to be using spray adhesive today. It will give you a tighter finish with less bleed, but the roller itself will actually push the stencil down in place. When done correctly, it's really easy. You don't need to use the spray adhesive. If you do use the spray adhesive, make sure you spray your stencil outside. You don't want to be breathing this. We're using dense foam rollers. These are great. We sell these on our website, but these are awesome because they don't produce a lot of bleed. If you have a high nap roller that's very hairy, it's going to leave a texture. It's going to push paint underneath your stencil, and you're going to get bleed. Lucky for us, in this finish, the brick, we aren't so concerned about a little paint seepage on the edge because it's just going to add to the natural look of brick would have around its edge. It's not perfectly straight anyway. Now, it's good to have a pair of scissors because we will be cutting our stencil at the end to get into tricky places. I really recommend when you're doing a project like this, you buy 2 stencils. At the end of it, you're gonna be very happy because you're going to get to that edge on the side of the wall and you're going to cut your stencil, and it's going to make the job so much easier. So I do recommend that. I'm going to put this back over here. So back to the tools here. you know, you want a screwdriver, you want to take your switch plates off. The way that we do that, I don't know if we can get the camera down here, is we take the switch plates off and then we put a piece of tape right on top of them. It's an easy way to go. You really don't want to be sticking paint inside your electrical outlets. Not really a good idea. We got a fitch brush here. Nice to have a marker when you need to cut your stencils. I like to have a rag that's slightly dampened, and that'll be for dry brushing. I'll take my wash brush and I'll clean it every now and then so I don't have a big load of paint on the edge of my brush. Of course, you need some 2-inch tape, 5 tool. This, invaluable. This is a stencil level. This clips to the bottom of the stencil, like so. And this way, we can check the level of the stencil, maintain our horizontal lines, and keep them level without having to pull out a bubble level and chalk and mark the walls. Who would want to do that? This is crazy. So this way we move the stencil, we can check the level of the stencil. This is an absolutely priceless tool, but it actually is available on our site. So let's get going here. Let me tell you a little bit about the preparation first. If your wall is in bad shape, give it some sanding, give it, fill any holes with a little spackle, take care of it. But again, we're doing brick, we're doing antique brick. A couple of holes, a little bit of imperfections on the wall is not going to be a problem. It's actually going to add to the realistic look of antique brick. So what we've done here is I've taken 2 gray colors and I've just taken regular rollers and I kind of roll them on at the same time wet. And what that does is give me this mottled look. And this is going to be our grout lines. We're going to stencil the brick over top of this, and this gray color will be just the grout line, and we wouldn't want that to be one solid color. You can do it in one solid color. It's going to look like super clean grout, super clean brick, but we're looking for a little age and antiquing, so I wanted a rough background, and you'll see how, even though this looks a little rough now, it's going to be perfectly appropriate when we see just the brick stencil and that little, basically half-inch grout line. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you a demo of what I did. I'm going to move the stencil over. Tape is here. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a little demo right here of how I did this. So I'm going to reach down. I've got some gray here. This is a darker gray. I've got my roller. I'm going to move these over. And I got a lighter gray. And what we have here actually is Benjamin Moore 1599 is my light gray, and Benjamin Moore 1600. Now they were pretty close together because I wanted them to blend together, but I added a little bit of black to my 1600. I wanted to darken that so I had a little bit more contrast between the two. So that's where we are now. I'm going to show you how I did this. Basically, you load your roller, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to apply some of the light color. Then I'm going to take the dark color. And very light attack and lightly blend those. Now you can come back in with your light color, you can come back in with your dark color. The idea is that you want a mottled look here. You don't want it perfect. I'm not pushing down too hard, I'm just lightly going over it, trying to take some of the straight lines out of it. See that straight line there? I'll just lightly go over that, then it kind of goes away. Although, in the grand scheme of things, if you had that straight line in there, you're not going to see it. You're really not. What you can also do is you can take a wash brush, simple staining brush, and while this is wet, you can just give it a little bit of cross hatching. And got a couple of brush hairs there. That's the way to get a brush hair out. Go against it. like so. Up. And just lightly blend those. Brush hairs, you have some in here, you let this dry, you wipe it down with your hand like that, that'll come right out. You just let that dry though. So, okay, so you modeled this slightly, and now we have this modeled look on the wall. That's it. It's a very simple technique. It's actually what we would call an unrefined wash technique. So, now that we have our wall is done, of course we're masked out. We're going to move on to our stencil. And back to these beautiful colors, the Ben Moore Moroccan red, the black, and the satchel. Now if you notice, I have the black, I'm dedicating a 2-inch roller to it, and I'm dedicating 4-inch rollers to the red and the satchel color. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pull this over here. And I want you to see what I've done here. Okay, so this is our stencil. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our stencil level, which is basically a clip and a bubble level, and I'm going to put this on. And this just slides on just like this. Couldn't be any easier, and it's going to make your life so easy. So then when you place your stencil, watch that bubble level. I'm going to place the stencil, and then I adjust. Oh, there we go. I'm going to adjust my stencil till the bubble is between the 2 lines, and now I know I'm level. That's how we use this. This is just an amazing tool. You're going to see as we go on with the project how it saves us so much time. Can you imagine if each time I had to do a stencil, I had to pull out a level, I had to put it on the wall, I have to put a pencil mark, I have to erase that later, all of that. It's just crazy. So I'm going to show you how to lay this out, but first I'm going to tell you that you can buy this brick all over stencil on our website, cuttingedgestencils.com. And for you Hometalk watchers, your viewers right now, you're going to get a 15% discount if you use the code, the discount code Hometalk15. So I recommend this stencil highly. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take this. This stencil is designed. This amount of plastic at the top is exactly 1 section of brick. So I can run this right to our crown molding or our ceiling line, and we will have the perfect area left for 1 brick. So let me set this up for you right now. The way that we do this is we like to do 1 full column, starting at the top, go down to the floor, and then we work left and right. This gives us a center line, this gives us a center section that we like, and then we move both directions. It seems to be the best way to do this. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to go to our ceiling line. Can you see what I'm doing, everybody? And make sure you ask some questions. I'm watching right now the comments, and so make sure you ask some questions, because I'd like to answer all of your questions and dispel all of your fears. So, I place this, I check my bubble level, I know I'm level. At this point, I knock down my tape. I'm very happy with my placement. It's going to get fun now. So here's what we do. We're going to go to our colors. I'm going to load the foam rollers. And when I load the roller, I want a medium load on that. And that's that. I'm going to load my satchel color. And I'm going to load my black as well. And the only difference with the black is it's going to get offloaded onto paper towels, because I don't want much of a texture that the tray can sometimes give. So I'm going to load the black. You see how I do it? I try to load it evenly. I don't put roll the roller in and just get all the black on one side. I kind of bring it in a little bit at a time, then I move it around. It distributes the paint around the roller. Then I'm going to go to my paper towels, and I'm going to do 1 or 2 passes And that is exactly how you want to load your roller. Okay, so here's what you do. The roller itself will press the stencil down. See how the stencil sticks up here and there? You don't have to worry about that. The roller, the pressure of the roller will push the stencil into place and give you the desired effect. So here's what I do. I come up and I'm going to get my initial coat of red on. This is such an easy technique. Okay, everyone see what I'm doing? Make sure you ask your questions and make sure you let us know what projects you'd like to see on Hometalk. We'd be happy to make a video, do a live, and show you some other stenciling techniques. Okay, so I get my red in. Try not to roll over the edge. Just be mindful about where your roller is. You know, you go off the edge, you have to touch it up later. So that's why I added this piece of tape here, is so I had a section of tape to help me in case I go over the edge like that. So you get some paint on here, doesn't have to be perfect. Look how easy this is. Anybody can stencil. Now I'm gonna take my satchel color, there you go, and I'm gonna come right on top of my Moroccan red, right on top of it. And again, I am not really concerned about how even the coverage is, because I want some random texture in my brick. I want some variation. Let me get a little more paint. But you can see it's starting to take shape already. And you can leave one brick a little bit browner, one a little redder, one half painted, half stenciled. And now we're gonna come in with our black. Now, my black roller has been slightly offloaded on the paper towel. Now here's the thing, I'm gonna lightly press and add this layer of texture on top. Check this out. So, maybe, can you see that? I'm gonna, as I move down the stencil, you'll start to see it more. But you can see, I'm starting to get this layer of black on top, and then underneath is my satchel, which is the browner color, and then the brightest color is buried underneath both of those colors. So it really gives us this beautiful effect by layering these colors, but you can see that there's really not much artistic ability is needed. You just need to be able to roll these foam rollers on this stencil. Anybody can do this. And by the way, where are you guys tuning in from today? We're coming from New Jersey, 65 degrees, beautiful day, last of the good weather. Okay, we've got this. You've got this. You can do this. Anybody can do this. Boom. Okay, guess what we get to do now? It's called the reveal. So I'm gonna pull this down, and you're gonna start to see how this starts to take shape. Okay, so this is the initial stenciling. We're gonna continue this, but what really is gonna make it amazing is the dry brush in black, the dry brush in gray, and the spattering technique. It's really gonna add a lot of age to it. So now our stencils are self-aligning. That means that they align with themselves. So these previously painted areas here, these top bricks lay right on top of that. Look at that. You don't have to think, you don't have to try to make it fit. This just goes right to this course. You line this up. Now, first thing I do is I get it really close, but then I look at my bubble level. And if I need to adjust it one way or another, I slightly adjust it here and now. Even if it is slightly off on the top, it doesn't matter. Always go to your bubble level as your final correction. Be a little bit, you might see a little bit of white here. Don't worry about that at all. Always make sure your bubble level is pressed in tight. And if it's crooked, it's not gonna work, obviously. So then once we see it, we like where it is, we tape it down, and guess what? We get to do it again. So I will load my Moroccan red again. And again, I'm not offloading this because I want a little paint on here. It's kind of a wet on wet technique, we call that. So I'm going to roll these. I'm not gonna do the bricks that I just did. It's okay, and you just, why go over them? Of course you can. It doesn't make any sense, you don't have to. You can see how you can get in the groove with this, and it can be so fast. You can do a wall in a few hours, really. Okay, so we're putting this on. Okay. Make sure you ask questions in the comment section. I'm happy to answer all of your questions. Tell me why you wouldn't stencil. Tell me what your fears are, because you have to understand that paint allows you the opportunity to repaint. So if there's a mistake made, you just take the gray out, you go over it, and you start over again. It's not a big deal. There's really no, it's not like you're actually doing a brick wall where you'll have to tear it down and it's gonna cost you thousands of dollars. That's not the case here. A little paint, you can correct your mistakes in no time. Okay, now I'm going on with my satchel. And again, you can do this somewhat randomly. You can have some of the bricks a little bit more brown, or with the satchel color, the camel color, or you can have a little bit less. And the same with your black. You can vary these. And you always have the opportunity at the end of the project to vary each brick individually if you wanted to. You can start to make some a little bit blacker. All right, here's my roller again. I offloaded it, the black, and now I'm gonna see, like, I might leave this one a little heavier on the left. And this one, I might do a little bit more complete. Okay. I'm gonna load a little more black on here. You can get these stencils at cuttingedgestencils.com. You can get these stencils on Amazon. You can get these stencils on Etsy. Jana, who designs these stencils, is really the best stencil designer I've ever met. And she's my wife. Okay. Do you see how easy this is? Do you see how fast this is? Do you see how bulletproof this is? And I forgot one more thing. Do you see how beautiful this is? So look, I'm gonna line this one more time. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna do this one. Again, I'm gonna go the top two bricks. I'm gonna check my bubble level at the bottom. I'm gonna make sure I'm level. That's always my final check. Check the bubble. Okay, we're going to do one more of these, and then I'm going to show you how it aligns left and right, and then I'll show you how we do our dry brush and spatter technique, and this will give you the complete look. Okay, look how fast this is. Okay, you got some questions for us? Make sure you leave them in the comment section. Also, let us know what type of projects you would like to see, what kind of DIY projects you want to see on Hometalk. Okay, satchel. Look how fast this can be. About to move on to the final technique to show you how to finish this up. Moving on to the black. Even load, offload on the paper towels, 1, 2, 3. Apply your black, nice light touch. If your roller leaves a little bit of a straight line in there, you can take it out by doing another light pass over top, or you can leave some in. There's often variation in brick you'll see like that. peel this one. And then I'm going to show you a couple of other techniques. Isn't that amazing? Take a look at that. Take a look at that. Now, I'm going to show you, boy, that looks amazing. I'm going to show you this stencil right here. This is a top edge stencil. You see this? This is designed to fit perfectly against your ceiling line. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to do that top course. This would go right, again, lines up with these two bricks. You see that? Lines up with those bricks. And it gives me the stencil right at the top edge. Now you're not having this big floppy wet stencil coming down, getting paint on your ceiling. This is a beautiful tool, top edge tool. And I'm not going to demo that because I think we need to get to the spatter and dry brush. You can just paint this. I think you know how to do that at this point. So I am going to take one of my, if you come over here, I'm going to take my big wash brush here. This is just a big staining brush, and I'm going to take a slightly dampened rag. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of the black paint, which I have here. I'm going to move it over here. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take the spray bottle, and I'm going to give myself some water here. And I'm going to take my brush, and I'm going to get some black on the tip. Okay? So I've got some diluted paint on the tip. Now I'm going to take my rag, and I'm going to wipe it off a little bit. You see that? So I don't have big gloopy paint. I've got this beautiful light diluted black paint. And what I do is I'm going to come in and just lightly dry brush this. And it's going to give this effect. You see how I'm darkening it here? I'm reducing the contrast between my grout lines and my brick, and I'm also highlighting texture that's in the wall. That's giving me all these little black spots that will start to antique the wall down. I'm going to get a little bit more. And you see how that's working? You can see it here very easily in the unstenciled area, but over top, I'm going to reduce that down. I'm going to get a little more water, and I'm going to come in with a little bit more of that. And this is just the first layer of antiquing. So that's your antiquing. Now what you do is spatter. So to spatter, we need even more diluted paint. And what we do is a little bit more water, and then I use my finger like this, and this will flick the paint in dots onto the wall. And this effect is a great effect for adding layers. They used to call it fly specking back in the day. Now we call it spattering. So see how that works? See how that spattering works? Beautiful, just adds a layer. Now this starts to give you an idea of how we've antiqued this brick. And I think we're gonna go back to the finished wall to show you how this looks. Again, now remember to let us know where you're tuning in from as we come over here to look at this wall. And remember to ask any questions in the comments section. And remember to tell us what projects you'd like to see on Hometalk. So this is the finished wall. You can see how quick and easy this project is. Anyone can do it. And you Hometalk viewers get a 15% discount if you use the discount code at Cutting Edge Stencils, Hometalk15. Thanks for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Hometalk.